Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov chess channel and welcome to the absolute stunner of the Superbet Rapid and Blitz that's going on now in Warsaw in Poland. Yesterday Jan-Krzysztof won the Rapid section with a great result. Congratulations for Jan-Krzysztof, and today the Blitz section started. Today we had the first 5 rounds in this beautiful chess event. The game of the day was, in my opinion, this one that I'm going to show you. It finished a couple minutes ago. I almost went to a meeting, but I couldn't skip this one. I had to cover this one. I have to show you this one. It was an incredible, sharp tactical game between Wesley and Anish Giri. In my opinion, this was simply the game of the day for sure. So here Wesley with the white pieces, open with the move e4. Anish response was c5. The Sicilian knight to f3, d6, bishop to b5. We have now again the popular Moscow attack here by Wesley. So Anish plays knight to d7, d4, c takes d4, queen to d4, a6, kick with the bishop, and now you can also play bishop to d7. Then of course bishop to d7 would be a black continuation, but again Wesley, so like in the previous games that we have seen by him so far, he's retreating with the bishop. He's keeping both of the bishops on the board. Now knight to f6, we have kingside casting, and a huge decision now by Anish Giri, e5, going into the Najdorf structure here. You see we have now an attack against the queen, but the weakness is of course that you have a backward pawn on d6, but also here a weak square on d5. But the queen has to drop back. Now knight to c5 by Anish, attacking the pawn on e4. Wesley protects it, and Anish simply develops here the bishop on e7. We have now a4, kingside casting, and now knight to d2, finally protecting the knight of the knight. And now in some lines, maybe we can also reroute somehow one of these knights maybe to d5, now simply targeting the weakness in position. So now knight to g4, played by Anish Giri. This is the way to go, kicking away the queen, forcing basically here Wesley to give up the bishop for the knight, which is in these types of battles I think a good continuation for black, keeping the bishop here on the board. Especially the light square bishop now can be used in a sort of a kingside attack with move f5, f4, where the bishop is the supporter of this whole attack. The bishop on e7 maybe it's not so good, but at least this bishop on e7 plays a good defensive role, is at least protecting the d6 pawn. So, but I really love now the light square bishop. The light square bishop will cause now many tactical problems in Wesley position. So after move here knight to g4, let's go back. After move knight to g4, what you could do is of course to play the move queen to g3, but look at this, the queen gets more and more endangered. You're getting simply in front of this bishop. Now even knight to f2 is a possibility, so actually you have to give up, I think, here the bishop for a knight. And I think from this point on Anish Giri has equalized the game. From this point on, black should be even slightly better. So in the game h3, bishop to e6, controlling the square d5. We have now the move b3. Wesley is now controlling the light squares because he doesn't have any more the light square bishop on the board. We have now rook to c8. Anish is preparing a wild tactic now on the c file. Notice that the knight on c3 is a little bit loose, and also the pawn on c2 is now backward pawn. It becomes now a structural weakness. Good move here by Anish, applying also the principle using the last piece into the attack, because every other piece has played so far. Now this last piece comes into the game, so now slowly but surely Anish Giri built a beautiful and amazing attacking formation. So in the game bishop to b2, we have now f5. This is the way to go. When you have the bishop here on the board, you don't wait a second, you have to just now rush the attack. So rook to d1, attack of course against the backward pawn on d6, and now we have a beautiful f4, and this structure becomes almost like in the King's Indian. It's of course not the same, but you know the grip when you have played the move f4 in the King's Indian, and then you have the light square bishop. Many times you can even sacrifice the bishop against the pawn on h3. Maybe not in this game, but as I said, it's always a tactical threat. Sort of white needs to be really careful around the square h3. First of all, of course, here Wesley had to draw back on e2, and now queen to e8. Here Anish is preparing to get the queen on g6, and maybe in some lines even to play bishop to h3, because there would be many tactical problems. So now comes the most important and critical moment of the game. Now Wesley occupies the d5 square, like you're supposed to do in Najdorf structure. So this backward pawn on d6, and when you have also the weak square on d5, this is the way to go. We have now the bishop to d5. We have e takes d5, queen to g6 here by Anish Giri attacking now the pawn on c2, and here Wesley makes a huge mistake b4. In the beginning it doesn't seem that this should be a bad move because you just kick away the knight, and then you will probably play knight to e4, protecting also some more maybe your pawn on c2. But now Anish found the stunner of the day. Maybe you can pause the video and try to see now the best continuation here for black. It's a beautiful tactic that Anish saw, and it's incredible how he could find this move in such a fast time for him, because this was blitz chess. You have only 5 minutes on the clock, so incredible tactic by Anish. Okay, could you find it? Here Anish played the amazing here knight takes a4. Really wild stuff. Look at this. After rook takes a4, now we have this one, rook takes c2, and notice that the knight is pinned to the queen here, and the knight is controlling the f3 square. That was the huge tactical problem here in Wesley's position. So f3 is coming, and not that only f3 is coming, your bishop on b2 is hanging. So first you have to react here. You have to play bishop to c1. Now f3 is going to happen. You cannot play queen takes f3, you cannot play knight to f3, you have to play queen to f1. Bishop comes into the game. Now there is the threat of f takes g2, and then getting destroyed around the square f2. So that's why here Wesley had to play the move g3. But now of course Anish sacrifices another piece. Really wild stuff. Look how Anish is playing the game. We have f takes g3. Now even e4 is here possible, but also queen to g3 was perfectly fine, maybe even slightly better. But e4 I think even more attractive, letting this pawns roll here, creating a pawn storm here in the center of the board. Look at this. Every piece is paralyzed here by white. Anish sacrificed 2 pieces, and instead it's now storming with these 2 pawns. Really amazing game. Now of course rook to a3 here. Wesley is trying somehow to stop the pawn chain, although probably maybe knight to e4 was slightly better, but still it leads into a complicated line in which still black is much better. Look at this, queen to e4. You have to play bishop to d2 in order to defend the g2 square. Now even the queen to e2 is possible. Look at this. After queen to e2 you cannot take, of course. Here the rook is hanging, you have to stop back, and now the bishop would be hanging. For instance, you play something like rook to a3. Look at this, we simply pick up the piece. After a couple of trades of pieces, still of course this would be much better continuation. d5 is weak, and even if the game reaches the fully end game, still black is much better because of the extra pawn here on the queen side. So as I said, in the full end game, still this is winning for black. So after move rook to a3 that Wesley played, so Wesley didn't play knight to e4. Anish plays now the move queen to g3, king to h1, rook to c8 here by Anish, simply getting all of the pieces now lined up here on the c file. We have now queen to g1, trying to trade off the queens, and look at this, what Anish did now. He sacrificed the queen with the rook to c1. Look how amazing this game was. Incredible tactics. Look at this, what happens if you play queen to g3. Then first we play of course rook to d1 if you want to cover, of course. If you want to play something like queen to g1, then of course we can simply take rook to c1. First of course it comes with a check. Here you can simply lose the knight, and the game still would be over here for white. So after move let's go back. After move king to h1, as we said, rook to c1, queen to g1, rook to c1 here. Even if you play queen to g3, as we said, rook to d1, you can even drop back here maybe with your king on h2, but now this would come into the game. Rook to d2, you can play maybe king to h1, but now this other rook is coming into the game, so you will reach the same position but with a different move order. So still a messed up game here for white for sure. So let's go back. After move rook to c1 that Anish played, Wesley dropped back with the rook. He realized there were some tactical problems on the first rank. Now we have queen to h3, queen to h2, queen takes h2, we have king to h2, rook takes a1, rook takes a1, and after rook to c2 in this position, Wesley so resigned. Incredible stuff, because of course the knight is lined up on the second rank. Even if you play rook to d1, then of course e3 is going to happen, and the game still would be over. There's simply too much material. Now there are even 2 pawns here, 2 extra pawns here we can create a passer, so it's of course a completely lost game here for white. So amazing game by Anish, Giri, congratulations. This was the game of the day, maybe even this was the game of the month. It will, I think, even be a candidate maybe for the game of the year. Incredible tactics, sacrificing 2 pieces and sacrificing the queen. This was one of the beautiful immortal games played by Anish, Giri. So okay, hope they enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. If you want to see more games from this chess event, you can also check out also some other previous games that we have analyzed. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what to say, chess is the best, of course.